At Whitcomb Hall. I'll begin with the roll.
Recording in progress.
Scott Sell, that's me, I'm here. Richard Lane. Here. Jane Johnson.
Here.
Brandon Self.
Here.
Michael York.
Yeah.
Victoria Ames.
Here.
Selectmen's Rep Ken Colby, not here. Alternate Steve Malone.
Here.
Michael Scungio, alternate. And Brian Vertigo, alternate. And we have a full board, so we will not be seating Steve again, but I should do to come anyway. So, on the agenda this evening, under applications and public hearings, Planning Board number 23-020, that's a site plan review. It's continued from, public hearing is continued from September 14th. That's Fieldstone Land Consultants, PLLC, on behalf of All Purpose Storage Swanzey West LLC, requests site plan review for construction of a multi-tenant services facility to be leased to various service businesses at 115 Base Hill Road. Subject property is currently shown at tax map 52, lot 16 in the Rural Ag District and the Business District. Number 2, which is Planning Board number 23-024, that's a site plan review. It's a continued public hearing from September 28th. Brickstone Land Use Consultants LLC requests a site plan review on behalf of MARA Properties LLC to construct a 14,000 square foot addition to their manufacturing facility shown at tax map 72, lot 98-2 at 735 West Swanzey Road. Subject property is located in the business and residential districts. Number 3, site plan modification. Site plan modification application submitted by Frog Brewing Company LLC for property located at 580 Sawyer Crossing Road. Site plan modification application to amend the previously approved site plan application to include function hall as an allowable use. Subject property is shown at tax map 56, lot 3, and is located in the business district. Under discussions in other business, Lesser's four-season notice of decision review, zoning and solar update, letter of support, MAST grant, and any other business as may be required. Moving back to the top, we will do the minutes of September 28th. A motion to approve the minutes of September 28th. Motion by Richard Lane to approve the minutes of September 28th. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Brandon Self. Is there any further discussion on changes or sakes or anything like that? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And those are done. Regional impact. Most of the stuff on here except Frog Brewing has been on a previous meeting, so it's a new item. So regional impact vote would be required. Who wants to make the vote that we do not, or nothing on tonight's agenda would require us to notify the surrounding towns?
So moved.
Motion by Mike. Is there any, a second? Do I have a second? Seconded by Jane. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Getting to the first, which is a planning board number 23-020, that's the turmoil. The applicant has asked us to continue it until October 26th meeting. So if no one has any objection, we need a motion for that.
You mean 115 Base Hill?
Oh, that what we're talking about? Oh, yeah, 115 Base Hill Road. Thank you.
I think this, at the turmoil, I hope people just.
I think so, yeah, they probably just jumped out of that chair over there. That's right, yeah. The Base Hill Road, correct. So a motion by Richard Lane to continue that public hearing until October 26th, and seconded by you, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, seconded by Mike. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay,
Who was the second?
it was Michael York.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Item B, Planning Board number 23-024, and that is a continued public hearing for Brickstone Land Use Consultants. They request a site plan review on behalf of MARA Properties LLC to construct a 14,000 square foot addition to their manufacturing facility shown at tax map 72, lot 98-2, 735 West Swanzey Road. And that is the turmoil. So, you're up, Mr. Peppers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Jim Pippert. I'm here on behalf of Turmoil Inc. I'm the Brixville Land Use Consultants team. At the last meeting, there were several comments from the board that the board thought needed to be addressed before we could vote on approval on our site plan. So I submitted a revised drawing. You have color copies on the table in front of you. It's also on the board. You should be able to notice that we did add a 10-foot landscape strip across the front. The landscaping will contain a mix of plants, hydrangeas, rugosa roses, and junipers. So they'll provide foliage basically year-round to those species. And we also labeled the 6 parking spaces at the west end of the parking lot as future parking spaces. We don't read them initially, but we'd like to identify them on the plan so we can have them in the future as they hire new employees. I also contacted the Public Works Department about the sewer size and connection. And we agreed to change the sewer size to 4-inch sewer so we can tie directly into the main that's existing in Perry Lane. And they indicated they would accept that. So I hope that's satisfactory to the board. We also added a note on the drawing identifying where a new overhead door would be added on the west end of the existing building. I was questioned by the board, so I wanted to clarify, yes, that'll take place. So those are the 4 changes that we made on the plan at the recommendations of the board, so I hope you'll find it satisfactory.
Thank you.
Where exactly is that door going to be? You've got a nice note saying it's going to be there, but where is it on?
Yeah, it'll be directly opposite the new door in this building, so a forklift can drive back and forth.
What should be shown?
You should be shown what?
It should be shown on the old building where exactly that's going to be on it.
Well, the arrow's pointing exactly where it's going to be.
It's pointing, right there at the building and adjacent from the other one. I don't know if the planning board really needs to see that right there. We know what it's for, we know where it's going there, and it's on the existing building.
It's an error. I didn't see the error.
But you have it on the new building. You have it indicated.
Yep, there's overhead door on the new building, and it has new overhead door to be added to the existing building right there. And so there's only a certain amount of space they can put it. And, it's,
Why not just put 2 hash marks on it, indicate what it is, so it's actually, makes a proper plot. I mean, I know it's Mickey Mouse to a degree, but let's have it the way it's supposed to be.
it kind of is, but it doesn't really bring up any site plan issue.
Circulation.
If that door is over by the shed or over by the corner or right directly across there.
We're supposed to look at circulation. I think that's probably what you're thinking about, right?
So how would it impact circulation if the door is moved, let's say there or there? We have to put exactly where that is at. That's where it's going to be, right there.
Sliding down.
Michael, you want them to show exactly where that overhead door is on the existing building? I don't think so either.
Don't see why not. I mean,
Yeah, that's a yes. Jane?
I would think this is the site that's supposed to be shown.
That's a yes. Yes, we do. It's not a requirement of the site plan that they have to, whatever doing it, they need access to the. Or something like that, and to be on there, you have to show exactly where it is, you know, for the site plan. If we get building plans, yeah, go ahead.
Just a question.
Mhm.
Would it be appropriate for the planning board to allow staff to approve it administratively?
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
add
we
it
can
to
do
the
it. We can
plan,
do it as
rather
a
than being
condition.
delayed to the
We-
next meeting. And coming back again, I don't object to adding it on the plan.
Yeah, it can be a condition, for sure, and if the board wants it to be a condition, then it can be a condition. And that's up to whoever makes the motion. Let's see, what else on there? What else are we doing? The door, that'll probably be a condition on there. If you make a motion anyways, add it in as a condition, is that okay with
At
you?
what point do I make the motion now, or?
No, we aren't going to discuss it
Yeah,
yet.
right.
And when I close the public hearing,
Yes, okay.
we're just discussing everything else in there, or that we haven't gotten to. They've put in everything that we asked them to from last week. There's one thing about you've got the water supply, you got a 2-inch line coming from West Swanzey Water Company over here,
Yes,
and you have an existing well on there. So it's my understanding that, and you're gonna have to check with West Swanzey Water Company, that when Avenue went on and they did the engineering study on that, they are at capacity, or they're in your capacity for West Swansea, so they may not allow you to hook up on that. So if you do, keep it in mind that
yeah,
Really?
we will be doing that if that's the case.
you'll be hooking up to your existing well.
I did speak to the Brown family,
No, you did, yeah.
and, I mean, worst case, we would modify our plan, come back to the board, and either add a second well or add a connection into the existing. The existing well is adequate to serve both buildings, and the use is only for domestic use, for the bathrooms. It's really not used in their processing systems. So we're not a heavy water user at all.
And it's not used for fire protection either, because you've got the cistern over there.
Right.
So, I don't know, I would think it's a wasted trip to come back to the planning board, just if West Swansea Water Company doesn't let them hook up, and they want to hook up to their existing well. I don't know how the board wants to handle that, but I would say
I mean, if that can be a condition as well, and
it
I'll
could just be in there.
identify the final result, so you have it in your records.
If West Swansea Water is at capacity and you can't hook up there, then you will hook up to the existing well.
That's correct.
Leave it at that. I think that was it.
Here's a point that's raised on page 5 in the staff review of this, that has to do with, the last sentence is, the board should consider whether they'd like to see landscaping along Route 10 of Perry Lane. The idea being, what's the front of the building? I don't know, did we resolve that?
They said the front was Perry Lane side.
Okay,
They were
okay.
looking at it as the front of their building, so that's
Okay.
where it's going.
Okay.
Right there. Anybody else have anything else? Anybody from the public want to speak on this issue? No? Then I'm going to close the public hearing, and we won't be taking any more comments when I do. So now's your chance. Okay? I'll close the public hearing. Board will deliberate. So let's see. We have a condition on there about, I'm just looking at the permits that they had there. But we had a condition, I was looking for the permits that they needed. Oh, there they are, right there, right? Yeah. So we discussed the conditions or permits that they needed, and that was the EPA stormwater pollution prevention, NHDES sewer connection permit, Town of Swansea sewer connection permit, Town of Swansea driveway permit, and all other state and federal permits as required. So those can be in the condition list of conditions, as we typically do, and of course, inspection by the fire department and sign off by code enforcement. And added to those would be, if the board wants to put a placement of where that exterior overhead door is on the existing building, and also a condition that would say if the West Swansea Water Company does not allow them to hook up to their system, then they will be hooking up to their own well on site.
Exterior storage as well.
Exterior storage for what?
Restriction on exterior storage. All sorts of maintained internal.
Okay, I don't know if that was on board, let's see.
It was last week, it was the last meeting.
Okay, they had said
It was
they
represented
had said
to
it was
us that
gonna be going
everything
in,
would be
right?
going inside.
Yeah, so no exterior storage would be a condition. Okay, so those are the conditions I can think of. Anybody else? We already did the door one there. Anybody else? So if not, then a motion is in order. Motion to approve, if it's to approve with those conditions that I read out there. I don't know, Beverly, did you get all those conditions, or should I?
I don't
just run
have
down
the
the list?
rest all listed.
I'll just run down the list if someone makes a motion.
Okay.
Richard, do you want to make a motion?
Go ahead, Richard.
I was gonna say, make a motion, that is accepted with conditions
To approve with the conditions that we just went over?
discussed.
Okay,
On the current list.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Michael York. Okay, the motion was by Richard Lane to approve with the following conditions. Would be no exterior storage to be allowed on the lot. They're moving all inside. EPA stormwater pollution prevention permit, NHDES sewer connection permit.
You're
sorry.
way too fast.
Sorry,
EPA storm,
stormwater pollution prevention permit,
okay,
NHDES sewer connection permit,
DES,
DES, yep,
sewer,
connection permit.
okay, got it,
Town of Swanzey sewer connection permit,
okay,
and the Town of Swansea driveway permit. And all local, state, and federal permits as required. Should cover any ones that we forgot.
okay, got it,
And the location of the overhead door that is going to be cut into the existing building. Okay, the location of the overhead door in the existing building.
yeah.
And what
To
else?
be placed on the flat,
Place on the,
should be shown on the plan.
yeah, pardon me?
Location, size,
Location and size.
size of the door.
Yeah, imagine if they got to locate it, they'll have to put the size down for the scale, but yeah, that's fine. What else was there? What was there?
Sign up by fire department and code enforcement.
Yeah. Sign up by the fire department.
Identify the West Swanzey water,
Oh, yeah, this we're doing that, that's right, yeah.
so water.
That was the last one I was thinking of.
And then exterior storage.
Already, I'd start off with that one, so we have that.
Okay, I did that.
Yeah, so the last one is, how to word it so it's not over long, but if they can't hook to the West Swansea Water Company system, then they will be using their on-site well. I guess that would be what it. And that should do it for the conditions, I think. So all those in favor of approving the plan with those conditions, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, and approve with those conditions. Those are administrative, and you come into the zoning office and we'll sign off on it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Brings us to item number C, which this one's a site plan modification, and that's the submitted by Frog Brewing Company, LLC, for property located at 580 Sawyer's Crossing Road. Site plan modification application is to amend the previously approved site plan application to include function hall as an allowable use. Property is shown at tax map 56, lot 3, is located in business district. And I will open the public hearing and come right up and tell us what you're doing. Okay, you brought the drawing as well? Yep. Let's have a little peek at that.
So this is the original site plan. We currently have 25 parking spaces. And
So do we have it?
right now, because of the, generally, we only have 2 large events a year. Our anniversary for our brewery, and we do a car show that's the benefit for the American. So, right now, we're getting a little bit more demand for weddings, some larger events where we would probably have 100 or 120 people on a regular basis. So our first thought was, right now I have a temporary, from the state of New Hampshire, the state wants us to have like a temporary fence line here, which we did with chain and concrete posts, which is movable. This parking area is a little bit larger than we need for a regular sized parking lot. So I can move that a little bit and gain a row of parking and then park. We have 25, I think, in the field adjacent right here. We could do another 42 on a temporary basis and park 67 cars. Anything larger than that, we would probably bust in from a different location.
That's the thing the planning board wanted to talk to you about, parking, because it has been an issue, I guess, in that area, people parking in different locations over there rather than your location.
Yes.
So that's what you do about it. What was the temporary fence? The state made you put that up because of
This
what?
is just because like we opened up our whole area for alcohol consumption, so we don't allow people to go in the parking area
Oh, that was
and have an open
due
container.
to that part of the state.
Yes.
It wasn't DES, it was something else.
Yeah, it was the electric commission.
I got you.
Same with like this signage, it says
Yeah.
no alcohol beyond this point.
So that's what you do, you put the excess cars out in the field, you remove enough of that change.
Yeah, I
To
can
let
move
them
this
drive
up
up
and
there,
almost
right.
gain another row of parking, and then we'd do another row, and so we could park 67 cars, which
In there, and you have how many in your parking lot now? I can't read it from here, but
it's 25,
25,
two
okay.
of them, yeah.
so, yeah, quite a few.
Yep.
Cars there. And the function hall part of it is just pointed out on the plan.
And well, in the brewery, the brewery tap room, and then we have a covered patio that's 36 by 40.
Yeah. So questions from anybody?
You gotta have some way to communicate to your patrons that they can't park right along Sawyer's Crossing Road. That's a
Yeah,
state road.
during an event, we would do signage,
Right.
no parking on the road, yeah.
You know, because I went by there and I was amazed that they're even on Route 10.
Well, when we had we didn't know the car show was obviously.
Yeah, those draw big around here.
Yeah, I would say that was a benefit for the American Cancer Society, and we didn't know it was gonna be like that, but.
Yeah, I see you guys got a good start. I just didn't want to see you getting some kind of legal troubles because
Absolutely, yeah.
you are responsible for your patrons when they're visiting your facilities. so-
Correct, yeah.
So how far down into here would you possibly be parking cars?
Well, this is the existing tree line. So we would move this temporary fencing that I have here up and have another row here, and then another row, and then another row on a temporary basis. This is like maybe 150 feet.
Looking at it, you're saying setback across here.
That's
If you
the,
encroach into that, is that a problem?
Which setback are you talking about? What is it?
Well,
Setback from the
I
river.
believe that is the.
that's the,
river, so.
Oh, that's a 275, is it, from the
Yeah.
river? That's what that is, right?
yeah,
so you're gonna be encroaching into that.
Yeah, but he's not building anything on it.
No,
it's a
You know,
a temporary basis, only when that particular event, which may or may not happens, like if you have one wedding a year or.
And you're not paving anything, right? I mean, it's
No,
just straight grass.
we did the impervious surface stuff here with the fabric and everything in the parking lot.
When you say temporary, you mean as needed?
Correct.
When he has an
Not
event.
on a full-time basis. It's-
So when you,
During no events or anything like that, just normal operation, there would be a way to seal off the grass area parking.
That's what we have now. I have temporary chain link, not chain link, but a chain with concrete posts through here, so that it's separated out.
But I guess no one else is here really to talk to this, other than the board members here then. Anybody else have any questions on that? Nope. Seems pretty straightforward and planned out, you know, and it's good that your business is taking off like that. That's
Yeah, I
great.
mean, we didn't realize in the beginning the demand for,
You're a little bit more visible there than you were in Marlboro.
absolutely, yeah, but I think it's more of like, people, oh, it's a nice space, we could have our Christmas party here, you know what I mean? to have a reception here and stuff like that, which wasn't in our original plan, but
Yep.
it is now.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Anybody else? Jane, you had something?
Right, so you would only be using this during this season when you didn't have to plow snow or something?
Yes, most likely, yeah, we wouldn't encroach on it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't plow the grass off. I like my
Right,
grass.
right, yes, looks
I
good.
don't like driving on it.
Anybody else have any questions on this?
Yeah, so you say signage, I mean, I like this, I want to see you succeed, and I'm wondering, you say you would have signage on Sawyer's Crossing Road, or I'm assuming that you would, that's, how
On the
would you
day,
manage
on the
that?
event,
On the day of?
if we thought it would be, an issue with that as a larger event, we would definitely put signage along the roadway.
Along your frontage?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the soil, I mean, just pray that it's not gonna be rain, right? Mucky muck?
Yeah, I
If
mean,
you have to use
it's
that.
an established field for over 100 years and it's grass, but I mean, obviously, if it was, some sort of a downpour, we wouldn't do it. You know what I mean?
It gets
I wouldn't
down-
want the damage to the area myself, so.
Okay,
It's
did you have
been,
to
it's
pay
been there
money
a
to
long
fix
time,
it?
it's not boggy at all.
Right.
Okay, okay.
I like mowing along.
It's near the river, but it's not boggy.
No, it's also, I don't know if you're familiar with the property, it's about a 70-foot elevation drop, very steep going down the river.
So does it make sense, I know this will be in the minutes, does it make sense to attach this information? How will we attach this information to the site plan?
Yeah, so what we'll do is I will amend the notice of decision to say, to change the use, but we'll also specify in the notice of decision that this parking space is located behind the structure are temporary. I think it's also important for us to note as well that is DES governs that section, that setback. And so if they have any concerns, ultimately they supersede us. So as long as you know that, and the board knows that, if they have any issues, then they'll let you know.
Right.
Anybody else have anything else? Then I will close the public hearing. So, again, it looks pretty straightforward, planned out. He's got a plan to do and knows how he's gonna handle it, so I don't see any reason why we can't have function halls and added use to that property. Anybody else? And a motion would be in order.
I'll move that we approve function hall use.
Motion by Mike that we amend his site plan to include function halls. Is there a second? Also, second by Brandon Self. Is there any further?
Question? Yeah, just, so if this doesn't work, right, so how will we, you'll know it's not working, you'll come back,
Well,
we'll know
somebody
it's
will-
not working.
Somebody, I mean, people driving by or whatever, there was a question about it before, driving by, that there was a parking problem, and if the police department sees a parking problem, they'll let a hold, whether it's the selectmen or the planning board or something like that.
A police officer can go by, he can tow anything that's
Yeah.
a traffic hazard.
And we can send them a
We
message,
don't want that, though.
but that's how it would be handled, you know, code enforcement or the police.
So
The whole idea is
Right.
the other part of that as well is they've worked to solidify that, you know, there isn't going to be parking off-site. If they need to have sufficient, you know, additional parking, they'll either bus in or find alternative routes. Really, the point of doing this is made it so that they can actually hold these events internally. They don't need to get a special events permit every time they come and want to hold something like this.
Right. Because we don't only get 6 a year.
So,
For instance,
Depends.
there's a motion on the floor, and we're discussing it, deliberating to see whether we're gonna pass it or not, or vote on it, yes or no, or. So
I
that's
just
what
had a question for him. If he has another car show, didn't you have the cars parked on that? Yeah, so I think you mentioned to me that day that you might have to do something about parking, and maybe you would have to bus people from a lot somewhere else. Yeah,
Yeah,
so he
you
wouldn't,
mentioned that
and,
tonight,
and
too.
so he will not be parking them along the road
Right.
or over at the oil company unless they say to. Yeah, and he runs a good-looking place, I'd just like to add that.
Where would they be pushed from?
Who knows?
What?
You know, we can make a deal with Nick's Restaurant or Carlos, and if he makes a deal with them, say,
They go to a smoking shop.
I'll rent him some
it'll
land.
be a legal parking spot.
He can park him in my front yard.
There you go, you got all kinds of.
There you
rules.
go.
$5.
Okay.
Wait for flag.
That's not for the minute.
Yeah, but you'll charge him $100 a car.
Any further relevant discussion? Then all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, you have your modification. Good luck to you.
Thank you. I just
You're
want to
welcome.
thank also the town of Swanzey, you guys have been very helpful in, helping us be educated, and when, we have lots of questions, especially related to treatment, so thank you guys very much.
Good to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
See ya. So let's see, we have discussions and other business. Unless there's four-season notice of decision review. So this is that place out on Route 10 for the ground, that has the,
Right there, right?
Roundup
There,
stuff.
they
yeah,
started.
it's right on the corner of, what is it, West Street and Route 10 there?
So I believe he's joined us via Zoom. He said he wasn't able to come in physically tonight. Is he on? No chance we see him?
There's a phone number and Mark's
Phone number maybe?
He said Mark
Mark
Square.
Square.
Yeah, there's
That's
two.
not him, yeah.
Yeah, there's two. There's Mark Square and somebody else. Is he on? I don't know if he can hear us or not. Should be.
I can hear you guys.
Yes, okay.
Yes, I can hear you as well. Okay, perfect.
So the reason why I brought this to the planning board at the last meeting was that Lesser had brought before Mike Jasmine a concern that he had about if he would be able to utilize his lot during the construction process, so that he can essentially, he's renting another location, he wants to move his equipment from the other location to there, and that way he doesn't have to pay the rent and the mortgage on top of that. Essentially, it's been detrimental to the business in that sense. And so that question has kind of come to us, and so the reason why we're inviting you here tonight is ultimately to give us a little bit of a, tell us exactly what you're planning on doing on that particular lot. You know, you talked about maybe finishing the landscaping and then utilizing the space as a business while the structure is being built or in that process. So I'm hoping you can maybe clarify a little bit of that for the board, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. So, thank you guys. Basically, the whole idea is to be able to operate out of there, like you guys were saying. We're a landscape company. We're not like a sales where there's a showroom floor. I mean, we will eventually have that with our buildings, but as of the way we're operating now, we're kind of on a landing, same situation. So the whole idea is to kind of save a little on rent and be able to just pay the mortgage and be able to operate out of there. Obviously, get the curb cuts in, get the drainage done, and be able to utilize that land during construction. The whole point of it is to, I mean, it'd be nice to be able to make it usable. Finish grade and such. I mean, there's still construction, obviously. So we're planning on getting the curb cuts in. I mean, that's kind of to start anyways. Get curb cuts in, you strip the loam, you get your base material in there, build it up to grade, level it all off. You get the drainage in there, you get your culvert pipes, you get everything that's kind of spec'd out, as you guys know, in the plans there. My thought was to be able to use that land, a section of that land. I mean, we've got a fairly decent sized property there. Section of that land to be able to maybe put a couple storage containers on, keep everything kind of neat and tidy, but be able to use that property.
Okay, so I think when the planning board discussed it, when we gave your approval, the planning board said that all the site work had to be done before you started using the property. So that sounds to me like that's what you're planning to do. The site work meaning the removal of the topsoil, the gravel you're gonna add for parking areas, drainage, like you said, curb cuts in, like you said. Is that what you're considering, site work, and you're considering doing the site work and having that done prior?
That's exact.
Go ahead.
Yes, that's exactly what I was hoping for, and that's kind of what I had thought we had agreed on. But there was a little communication or miscommunication between Mike Jasmine and I. So we just kind of wanted to clarify, I think. But yes, that's the plan, is to kind of get the bulk of the site work, all of it up to grade. I mean, the building's going in next year. But basically, yeah, curb cuts, drainage. I mean, the drainage is the most important part. You get all this, you start with the bottom up and build up, essentially. It's not like we're going to be kind of backtracking. Drainage is a huge, huge part of this project because, as you know, it is a little wet over there. So get the retention ponds in, get the culverts in, get all the drainage done, get everything up to grade, and go from there. I don't want to backtrack, though, where I don't want to gravel the entire site and then have to dig it all up where the building's going. So I was more or less planning on just doing a base product for the finished areas where they're going to be, where it's essentially in front of the material bins there, hard pack, and then where it's going to be paved. I think we've got a big kind of U, if you will. That was all going to get finished, as finished as you possibly can without redoing it, if that makes sense.
So you'd be doing your paving after you put the building up, is that what you're saying?
Correct, yeah. The pavement will be done after the building's up because we'll have trucks coming in,
Right.
we'll have machines running around. There's no point in paying for asphalt twice. I wish I could afford that, but it's not going to be feasible to do that, so.
So are you still planning on the apartments?
Yes, yeah. Sorry, when I say building, yeah, I picture it as one, essentially.
So you may or may not have been in on the meeting before when we were discussing the prior applicant. And the West Swansea Water Company has reached capacity, and they,
Yep.
they may or may not let you hook up to that. Are you aware of that?
And that's okay. I was kind of planning on having a well in there as a fail-safe anyways. We are going to have the water tank for the suppression system, so that'll the engineers will go through all of that, but essentially I was planning on putting a well in anyways. So I think that's kind of what we agreed on with the original plans, is we might need to put a well in, and that's kind of what it sounds like.
Okay, good. Yeah, just bring it up because you are in their franchise area, so.
Yes, yep, no, I'm aware.
You know. So the board have any questions on what he plans to do there? It looks like he's going to do the site work first, which is what we wanted him to do, get all the drainage and everything in so the site works. And then he can move his storage, I guess, for mulch and various items he's going to have in there and work off the site. And it sounds like he's planning to build a building next year. So I think that's...
I'm sorry, I'm having difficulty hearing.
It is difficult to hear on that.
Is the sewer and water for the apartments going to be in ground already, or is that going to be done later? I think
can be.
we initially said all of that has to be completed.
If it were me, I would do it, but there's no reason, because it's done all the time. You dig a line and put a sewer line in, or you dig a hole and put a water line in. But I don't know that he's going to hook up to the West Swansea Water Company. They'll probably have a well there. I think that's what he said he was planning on there, but I don't think it really is much difference to the planning board whether he, he's not going to pave until after the buildings are up, but if he has hard pack and all that type of stuff down, then sometimes it's easier to do that, and then you dig a trench, you put your sewer line in, and you lay your water lines electrical, what you're ever putting in afterwards. That's not a problem, to me anyway. I don't think so. No.
There's going to be a private well. Do we need to indicate that on the site plan, the location of that?
It may be there already. I don't recall. We don't have the plan here, but I don't recall.
There's not a well there that I know of.
No, I mean on the plan that he submitted to us. I don't recall whether there's one on there. No, but even so, yeah, they would have to indicate it on there.
So just FYI for him.
Yeah.
Right?
Should we require some sort of bond to make sure that this is completed?
No.
Rather than just having...
The planning board generally does that if the town is going to be on the hook for something. We'll say a development is going in and you've got roads and infrastructure going in there, sidewalks, sewer lines and all that type of stuff, and they get halfway in there and run out of money. That's when the town has a bond, because then the town has to finish the darn thing off. But something like that, the town isn't
Yeah,
gonna.
at this
go in
point,
there
all
and
he's
finish it
gonna be
off.
doing is improving that lot anyway. So,
Right, so no, in my opinion, no, I mean, that's a board decision, obviously, but in my
I don't
opinion,
think
no.
this one needs a bond.
So, I guess, you're asking us just for a nod, a preliminary nod or something on what you're doing there, because you said there was a discrimination or a difference of opinion between you and Mike Jasmine, the code enforcement officer. What was that difference in opinion?
I think the difference was just an understanding of essentially getting all the site work complete to a completion point and being able to operate out of there. I think the miscommunication was that we had to have the entire site, building, pavement complete before we could operate out of there versus getting the drainage, the curb cuts, the
Okay,
finished site grade.
Code enforcement thought that the planning board wanted the building up before you operated out of there, right? That's what his thought was?
That was my understanding with Mike Jasmine,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
I thought it was just to have all the site work done, all the drainage and all the water lines, et cetera,
Yeah.
before they could.
You're right, it was, you're right, but Mike, he probably wasn't at the meeting there, and he didn't want to approve something when the planning board says, no, you gotta have it this way, and he didn't want to overstep his bounds, so that's why they're getting clarification from us. And you're right, yeah, we did say that all the site work, all the drainage, water lines, and all that type of stuff had to be in there.
For the entire project.
For the project, yes.
Where's the definition of complete?
No, we aren't talking about
No,
complete.
that's what the sounds like.
No, that's not what it sounds like to me anyways. He's just getting clarification as to how far along they have to be before he can start moving his equipment on there and selling his mulch and stuff off of there. And we discussed that at that meeting, as I recall, and it was that the site plan and the drainage has to be in there first. Then, and the curb cuts, obviously, then he could still use it and the building can go up
That
afterwards.
would constitute a substantial amount of completion. I think that term, because we use that term, or it's in our.
We do, and that's for extensions of site plan or approvals, those type, extension of an approval. Generally, the planning board, if the site work is done, that's a substantial improvement to the property, is what we usually consider on this board, anyway. So, let's clarify it for him.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Jane.
why is there a memory stuck with me that in discussion, it was mentioned that we did not want things stored and placed on the lot to be left until a building was erected, in the fear that we didn't know how long it would be before a building would be erected. Just like the past one that just went through here. They've been storing things outside for some years. And I'm delighted that they're building an extension, and that won't be like that anymore. But that's what I understood at the first go-round, that this was to be completed to the point that we wouldn't see a lot of their business on that lot until they had their.
Oh, a lot of his business is stuff stored outside. I mean, those bins that they're gonna be taking mulch out of.
I know, and there's
stuff.
much too much of it along Route 10 now.
But we approved it for
business
those,
is stored
the site
outside.
plan is approved with those outdoor storage bins. The building wasn't gonna be used to store all the mulch and stuff.
No,
and
true,
gravel and
that's true.
It's gonna be along that, it's like the northerly, as I recall, the northerly section of that lot there. And that is part of the business, that outdoor storage there.
So my recollection is that we were comfortable with the outdoor storage of materials, but I don't recall a discussion of all the trucks and equipment and trailers and, is that part of this? Are we permitting this? Those were going to be stored in the building, was my understanding of the application.
I don't recall all the trucks stored in the building, I don't know, maybe.
Well, he can tell us, I think.
But, I know.
No, so in the, I'm sorry, excuse me, in the plans there, we have out back that parking lot, and that's where a lot of material trailer storage is. So technically, not all of the trailers and trucks need to be stored in the building. The reason for the building is to store as much as we can in it. So if there's stuff that's stored outside, it's technically in that material storage area, which is part of that plan.
That's the way I recall it too. And that there was a substantial screening in the back of that property just for that purpose there. I think there's almost a berm.
I also, I mean, keep in mind too, like the face of our company, this building, this property. So it's not going to be a junkyard. We do very high-end work. We attract a lot of high-end clients, and people visiting the site with the materials. It's going to be clean. It's not a junkyard like some other places that I won't mention, but it's going to be a clean site. And the amount of money that I'm dumping into this building, it's going to be very, very nice. So I guess all I'm asking is to, in the time being between now and springtime when the concrete goes in and the building gets erected, to be able to just operate out of the land that we own to kind of float us through to when the building's up, and then we can move inside. It's not really feasible, but can be done if worst case scenario, to stay where we're renting now and pay our mortgage and et cetera on the property. But it would be very nice if we could kind of just move over there, centralize, and go from there. I guess that's kind of what we're getting at.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's understandable. Running a business certainly is. So let's see. I suppose we could either have a consensus or a motion. We can have a motion on this. I think that would clarify it. Saying that.
I'm sorry to interrupt. The only thing with the site work that will not be complete because it's not, we're waiting for it's going to take part in the concrete, is the electrical and the water and the sewer, if we can even tap into the water on site there. But that would be dug next year with the building. But every part of the site plan, site work will be drainage grade, will be complete this year.
That's generally what we consider site work is a drainage plan, curb cuts and sidewalks and
yes, exactly,
things like that. So, okay, thanks for clarifying that. So I think if we do it by motion, the motion should say that is to allow the applicant to start using his site commercially with the storage bins of mulch and stone and whatever else is going to store down there after site work is completed, which means the drainage, all the drainage is done, hard pack, curb cuts, driveway, hard pack, and the curb cuts, and just anything else that pertains to the site.
So, and consolidation of his equipment, his trucks and trailers, and it sounds like those will be all moved to this site at this point.
They will be, I would say, because he's renting another place.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so.
For convenience, all the groundwork has to be done.
Yeah, and then we generally consider that site work, the groundwork, site work. Site work, again, is the drainage plan. They've got to get the property to drain properly, and they've got to have, I think there's going to be, I forget exactly how they're doing the drainage on that one, but anyways, all the drainage has to be completed and working. Curb cuts have to be in, and there has to be, the soil has to be removed, and wherever they're putting building and driving on, it's got to be hard pack or something, gravel or something substantial like that to drive on. So that's my opinion of site work. Anybody else?
Do you think that's going to work for Mike?
Yeah, I think it's also important for us to emphasize as well that this still requires that the entire site plan application is finished within a year process, just because that's the typical timeline.
That's all they
And
have, yeah.
if you run out of time in the process, you get to the year mark and you can't complete it, you can come back to us for an extension for the rest of the building. And knowing that if it's not finished within that 2-year period, then ultimately it can't be a scenario where he gets to continue with an unfinished site unless he comes back and does a brand new site plan application. application,
Is that year start from now or from prior approval?
prior approval.
Prior approval, the first approval we gave.
And administratively, he should come in and when he has determined the location of the well, should come in and
Let us know, yes.
let you know.
Yeah, should be on the plan just for convenience. Somebody looking around for a while, those things disappear pretty quickly.
No, absolutely.
Put it on the plan, you can go over to town hall and find out. where
I got one thing to ask the gentleman. I live not far from there. And the last couple of days, you've been having workmen are parking on the sidewalk. They can't park on the sidewalk. Those are for pedestrians, and there's a lot of them in that area. So you could please just ask those workmen working on your site right now not to park on the sidewalk.
Absolutely. I wasn't aware that they were parking on the sidewalk. I thought they were parking in the lot. So I will absolutely ask them not to park there.
Thank you.
So, getting back to the motion. The motion would be, I'll repeat it, that after completion of all the site work, which includes the drainage plan, all the drainage working, and the curb cuts to the property, and gravel or hard pack, whatever he's putting on there for driving on, then he will be able to start using it as commercial, yeah, I guess, whatever, yeah, I guess that's considered commercial business. Using it as his business, his storage part of it there, with the building to be completed next year.
So moved.
Motion by Michael York.
Excuse me, before we get to second, do we advise, or Mike will be advised to check all of that before they can start their commercial part?
Yep, and he's doing his job because he checked with these guys here, you know, what they're doing now, that's what we're doing here. Because he had a
Make sure we
question.
don't have to
Yep, he's
note
on it.
that.
So do we have a second for the motion? Seconded by Richard Lane. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, you continue your site work.
I go by there several times a day, so I'll let you know if it becomes a junkyard
Yeah.
real quick.
And get it
That's my
completed,
task.
and then you can move some of your storage bins on there and start using your property.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great night.
You too. Okay, zoning and solar update. Okay, let's get on to our zoning here.
Yeah, I didn't see that in the packet.
Should be in the back. Looks like, this portion has the,
Oh, okay.
and the next page has the map.
Okay, so, no, okay. I just get that part of it, that's all.
So we've got so many different copies of this thing floating around.
Could you do us a favor in the future, like this one here?
Yep.
Sometimes you have projects that you start on the backside after ending the other one. Can you separate them a little bit?
So, okay, yeah,
You
put
know,
like a,
so
put
that
like a page.
when I get done with, this is my last page, I put it over here, then my next one starts, my next project.
Yep.
Just makes it a little easier.
Yeah, oh no, I understand.
I know we're trying to save
Yeah,
trees,
because I always.
but I got a couple of some.
What also gives you, I could put like a blank page and says zoning, and that way you know what part of the agenda it's on. Do that.
So a lot of this is Village Business District 1. And we went over all the permitted uses there that we're adding or taking out of that. But it still looks to me like the bed and breakfast facility was excluded from it. But we had it on there with maximum occupancy when the planning board looked it over. I think we had that in there.
It was on there.
That's what I thought, so that needs to be put back in there. But again, there's so many different lists that we've got here. Some of them are crossed off, some of them aren't crossed off. But it looked to me like that one was crossed off.
What do you mean?
It was,
So-
let me just find out, it was crossed out. And let's say, business district 1, it's a business. It's a duplication of that.
Yeah, so it says section
It does
5.
there, but no, I'm looking at what's actually in our zoning that's been crossed out. Here it is right here. See, it's in, it's got hotel, motel, or bed and breakfast facility. That's crossed out. That's not gonna be in there. So
Right.
we're gonna have the bed and breakfast in there.
Yeah, stays.
Okay.
Understood.
All right. And also,
Okay, that's fun, okay.
in that very first part where we're talking about the description, Village Business District 1, it says Village Business District 1 will extend along the western side of State Route 32, and it describes the entire district. Well, if we're gonna do that, we're missing the Village Business District in West Swanzey here. It goes up that side of Main Street and up there. So if that description is gonna be in there, we have to have some sort of little paragraph in there that says, and also in West Swanzey, I think it's the south side of Main Street, and we'll have to see what properties are in there, but that's in the Village one as well. And the one property over there on what used to be Grove Street, I think it is, that's in, so it'll have to be in there. Okay, so we'll add that in there.
And also just grammar, it says that the district will extend, presumably this will occur, so it should just say that the district extends along the western side of blah, blah, make it not be a future tense, but present tense.
Yeah, I'd say will and not a lot, so it extends. Yeah, we can just use the S at the end of the verb rather than using the will or shall, because that'll give it the.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, understood. Fine. Is that the type of description that we're looking for? Because I explicitly used map and lots now.
Yeah,
Granted,
no.
map and lots are changing right now, so.
Oh, yeah, well, that'll have to be changed with that then, will it? No, are these the new ones?
Yes, these ones, I believe, are the new ones.
Yeah.
216 sounds right.
But that makes it helpful because sometimes you don't know where that line is on that. So it's helpful the more descriptive it is. And yeah, along Main Street here, it's never really been described out on. I think it shows it on the map, but it really isn't described as what it is on Main Street.
Do you want me to add a description to it that is very similar to this? And I know what's currently proposed there is not necessarily that, but when we do the zoning amendment, we can amend it to include those parcels. Or is that too far for what we want to try to do?
Go over that again, you've lost me someplace.
So this specific change, the zoning ordinance, is tied to the parcels themselves. This one out there is not tied to the parcels. Would you like me
to describe it as that? If we're going to describe it, we might as well describe it as this one is being described. If we're going to do a description of it, it might as well be like this one.
Yeah.
So
I think it's good practice.
Do that.
Or be more accurate.
yeah, you know what properties are in, what aren't in. So
The wording, going back when you were saying will and shall, I'm not gonna say it right. Shall is very very definitive.
Mandatory.
Legally, it's definitive. Will is ambiguous.
We know what you mean.
It's a bit getting
We know
old
what you mean, Richard. So
But
are you?
we should change will to shall. Because the shall
Or just
only
take it
extend
out.
200 feet.
Victoria proposed removing it entirely. So the wills will be removed, and it will be, like, whatever the following verb is afterwards will have an S to it.
Yeah,
It's
continues
almost,
and
yeah,
shall, yeah.
continues
Shall.
or extends or.
No, leave those two out. I think that's
Yeah,
correct.
This is just descriptive,
That's
it's
better,
not
yeah.
meant to be, I don't think it's at
No,
that level of.
That's a better
Right,
wording
right.
with the.
Yes, I agree with Victoria.
I had a question about the off-street parking on the opposite page. Because we've got that little box and it has the scheduled minimum parking requirements. So we tend to use a variety of descriptors for these different uses. You know, like we've got wholesale warehousing or manufacturing facility, wholesale or manufacturing facility, just depending on which district we're in. And my instance is the bottommost one where it says retail sales. In other instances, we say retail sales : services. And I wonder, first, if that's what we intend, if we intend to have that same kind of parking requirement for retail sales and : services. And if so, why don't we put it there, add the word services?
Is parking one of the things we're changing in here? Or, because I don't even know where the heck you are on that.
Okay,
right
just
now.
on the opposite page, we were looking at this block of text on the opposite page, there's this little box with the parking.
I'll see if I can find it. Oh, okay, you got it, thank you.
And what I'm thinking about is the the facility that was continued at our meeting until the next
Yep,
meeting?
I don't think the services would fall into that. I think retail sales, because we're going by square foot, right? 250
Okay.
square feet, gross floor area we're going by, and that is a retail sales where a bunch of people are gonna be in there, you know, and looking
Selling, yeah.
at chairs or whatever the heck they're looking at.
Yeah.
Services is a little bit different, whereas you don't have that many people in there. Service business is you're providing a professional service or professional labor or expertise for something. And you wouldn't normally have that many people for
Okay.
square footage, in my opinion anyway, that's just me, so.
Just down the line, it would be so nice if we could make all these different uses consistent in their wording from zone to zone to zone, or district to district.
We'll see how we do with the ZBA as to, you know, whether we want to straighten some of those out, see what happens there at that ZBA meeting, because they're gonna go over services, you know, the attorney there is gonna be discussing that with the ZBA, it's their job to interpret our zoning ordinance as to what it means.
Okay, but, you know, for me, it's a larger issue,
Yeah.
because it's throughout our entire ordinance,
It
that we
is.
have a variety of descriptors depending on which
And
district.
it's just how the ordinance got
I know,
written, you know,
I know. It
you start
evolved,
off a couple of
right.
pages and then you
Yeah.
a little bit more and more,
Yeah.
because we have, again, like you're saying, retail sales, service, then we have, retail businesses and service establishments, things like that. It means the same thing, but we have it worded differently in different areas in there.
Right.
Should always try to track the language.
Chair, if I may,
Track the language.
Track it?
Yeah, from one district to another.
Yep. Somebody on
Yes.
there? Go ahead. You're on
I
the air.
shall. I shall. On the Village Business District 1, I did not see in the packet anything about that 35-foot height limitation that we discussed at the last meeting.
Yeah, it was there, but you're right, I don't know if it's there or not. But again, this, it's a little hard to understand. So, I mean, we've got a bunch of duplicate pages here and stuff, but I know you're right, that was in there, we
Yeah.
had it in there. And we will,
It would almost be nice to actually see it written out the way it would actually be worded without the delta, the changes.
it's in there. Okay, it's in there, Julia's found it, it's in there.
You're correct, it's not in there, but this is the section we're supposed to go.
Okay, so,
Maybe we need to clean,
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how we're gonna organize this. to make it a little
take
easier.
this what we got now, toss it on there, and do a clean thing up to work from.
Yep.
Because everything gets, that's my problem with sometimes the way things are, these packets are lined up.
Yeah.
One runs into the other.
okay, anything else on the Village Business one, or that other zoning that we're looking at there? Anybody?
I think it's all in there, like you said, it's not organized, so it's hard to really, say that absolutely. And it would just be nice to see it written out like the way it would actually exist and to make sure it's clean, that's all.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing here. That's why we haven't had public hearings yet on it. We're just going over it, making sure that it is exactly what we want, and then we'll have a public hearing on it.
Thank you.
Does it go to legal before the public hearing?
Yeah, yeah. I should have sent it out this last week, but whenever we sent it out to you guys, it was a little later than we wanted to, so.
And small things like that, like adding the 35-foot height thing there, even if it's not in there, the legal, we can still do that.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Some of the things that are allowed by special exception are, a special exception is not always that hard to get.
We're still talking about a Village Business one.
Yes, Village
Okay.
Business 1,
And-
existing uses.
So we're talking about accessory building, right? That's the special exception one we're talking about?
Well, should I be looking at Village Business 1? Yes, amended uses. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I'm all right with it. I was in
Okay.
the wrong column.
All right. No.
I don't know why.
But it is something to think about, because special exceptions get us into a lot of trouble.
All right. So let's move on then to the solar update. Everybody have a copy of the draft of the solar update there? And it's talks about the purpose of the ordinance is to accommodate and encourage renewable energy systems and distribution and generation resources in appropriate locations while protecting the public's health, safety, natural resources of the town. So it's got accessory solar, a few different uses here. Accessory solar, we've got small scale enterprise solar, commercial solar, and industrial solar. So the accessory solar would be a single use, like on a residential home or a small business or something like that by the looks of it. And just on a small lot, and that wouldn't require a site plan review because lots of homes.
Well,
might be
we
putting
really
up-
don't have much control over residential.
We have no control over residential. Not much about it, but no control, and as we should not have any control over it. So the second one is a small scale enterprise solar, and that's a solar energy system that serves a group of local energy users situated on one or more separate lots, which are not necessarily contiguous. Users are typically connected through a group net metering agreement, power purchasing agreement, or other similar agreement or method. Solar energy system footprint shall not be larger than 10 acres. So that's something that, like, one of them could be in Swanzey, the other one could be in Keene. It doesn't really have to be that close by because of those agreements that they write up there, their purchasing agreements and that. So that says the footprint shall not be larger than 10 acres. And let's see, small scale. And that's it's a permitted use in rural ag, special exception on residence, village 1, business district, village business, commercial industrial allowable use, industrial park allowable use. And we've got it not larger than 10 acres. And I'm wondering if we ought to bring that down to like 2 acres. I know 2 acres, you can't fit too much on there, but I can see a lot of good land going for the solars where it should be going for houses or single family homes and all that type of stuff there. And yeah, it's nice to have solar, but it's also nice to have a place to live as well. And I think we ought to start small. I think we ought to bring that down to not larger than 2 acres. That's still a fair amount, and that's allowed in rural ag, residence, like I said, special exception of residence, special exception visits, village business 1, business district, village 2, special exception, but I don't think they'd ever have it in village 2 because that's the mill, that's it. That's all you got down there, so. Commercial industrial, permitted use, that. And I think the same goes for commercial solar. That's a use of land that consists of one or more freestanding ground-mounted solar collection systems that has a solar energy system footprint of greater than 10 acres and less than 25 acres in solar land coverage, and is designed to service more than the on-site structures. Again, 10 acres to 25 acres, that's a nice piece of land there. I would say 5 to 10 acres, even that's quite a bit.
How big was that solar project that we?
Down here? I don't remember how many acres over there on that. I don't know.
Between 5 and 10 somewhere, I believe.
Yeah.
On my recollection.
It's a fair amount
It was
there.
less than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A fair amount, I don't know.
Big one.
It was like around 5.
So that's by state standards, it has to be less than 10, so I believe it was 8.